Hello and welcome to the Philippines. We're going to take a look at some province life. Going to ride around, going to ride through Consolation, just north of Cebu City, Mandaue City area. On a hobble, a motorbike taxi. Hobble means animals having intercourse, I think, something like that. Anyway, this is going north out of Mandaue City. I think she caught the hobble out of Mandaue City and going north, and I think she said it cost either 140 or 160 pesos. 160 pesos would be $3.20 US cents, I think. That's based on about 50 pesos to the US dollar. Now it's dropped down to about 48 right now pesos to the US dollar, and when I came here in 2015 it was 45.5 pesos to the US dollar. So, and it has gone as high as 54 for a couple of months, 54 pesos to the US dollar, which was great. More spending money, and it fluctuates every country, and you can find sites that will give you the charts and the daily information on how your currency is fluctuating. I read an article yesterday, I think, here in January 21, that said that with increased imports during this year, they expect the dollar to become stronger against the peso again. So originally when it was set up so many years ago, I think it was set at 50 pesos to the US dollar. Anyway, my friend took this video, gave her a camera, and she's going up here to look at some property. So they're off the main road. That was the main road that runs north and south, the length of Cebu. That road is 2-lane. A lot of the distance. Cebu Island is a long, relatively narrow island. I think about 50 miles across, or maybe less than that. 60, 70 kilometers across in the widest space. And a number of expats have told me that they live up here. There are a number of developments, condos, housing developments with townhouses, attached and unattached houses. A couple of malls up here, smaller malls. You can get much of what you need at the stores there in the city. Depending upon where you're at in the city will determine how good your internet access is. And they are rolling out more fiber internet, even up in these areas, even up into the mountains in some areas, but it just really depends on where you're at. So you'd want to check that out before you rented or bought a place, I think. And generally it's cheaper to live outside of the bigger cities. You can find a place to rent, maybe 5,000, 7,000, 10,000, just depends upon the type of place and requirements that you have. Always best probably to get a Filipino to help find and negotiate some of the prices. There may be a higher price if the foreigner gets involved, perhaps. Anyway, there's several rather nice newer houses, and right next to them older poorer type houses, however you want to describe them. There are opportunities up here, and about the only way to do it, a lot of this stuff you will not find on the online rental sites, real estate sites. Filipinos are some of the best networked people in the world, so you start talking to people, find a couple people, make friends, start asking around. Somebody knows somebody who's related to somebody who has a place to rent or for sale, and then you can go from there. Of course, when the parties involved have a stake, perhaps they're going to get a commission or kickback. There can be, well, that's doing business in any country in the world. That's just the way the world works. Personally, if I was looking to move into any area, I would, and I've done this in Phoenix, Arizona. I was going to buy a house. I went there in the evening, talked to a few of the neighbors, and they told me the road noise from the nearby 4-lane, pretty busy road was just always constant. And the one guy said he even tried to build a second wall inside his house to try to block it out, and he said no, it came in through the window panes, came in down through the chimney. But I would want to come into areas in the evening, different times of the day, for a week or two or longer, and just check out the area. Find out what kind of issues you'll be dealing with. Find out how the water supply is. That can be a big issue in parts of the Philippines, even parts of Cebu City. There were areas during our drought, the wells dried up, and people had to get up early in the morning, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, take their pails or buckets down to where the truck was going to bring water in each day or every few days. And then a couple taxi drivers told me, yeah, you go down there and then the truck doesn't show up that day, even though it's scheduled. So you have those kind of issues. Find out a little bit about the brownouts, if they're very common or not. Now, I've lived in 5 different condos in Cebu City. I'm generally near a bigger business type area like IT Park or the Cebu Business District, Mabolo. And I've had brownouts, but they haven't lasted, usually an hour or less. So I can deal with that. I can handle that. But if it was going to be an all-day affair, like I know some people in Dumaguete, they'll lose power for 8 hours or 10 hours. And then it's like, well, it can get pretty warm and humid. And how are you going to deal with that? Go into town, spend your time in the mall, go to the lake, or go to the beach, the sea. Most of the expats I know that live in the province, every place is in a province, but the term province generally means outside of the bigger cities, like the country, the smaller towns, and if they live out there, generally they make 1 or 2 trips a month into the bigger city, whether it be Cebu City, Iloilo City, Bacolod, Davao, Dumaguete, to get some of the things they cannot find out in the province. So that is that takes time, of course, and a little extra expense, depending upon whether you have your own vehicle. Many of my friends have vehicles, and they drive in, or you can rent a taxi or a van. I know a guy up in Malapascua has a resort up there once a month or so. He rents a big 15-passenger van with a driver, takes it down, loads it up with goods in Cebu City, and brings it back to furnish his resort for the next month. Anyway, you got some pretty nice roads out here in the province. Many different areas. There are some areas not quite as good. You get up further into the mountains, you can even get some pretty rough roads. It's about 28 degrees Celsius here on January 5th, about 3 in the afternoon. 28 degrees Celsius is about 82 degrees Fahrenheit. Isn't that cool? Just reverse the numbers, 28, 82. Give you an idea what it's like here. I've got the windows open and letting a breeze blow through with the door open, and I'm very comfortable. This is back in Cebu City, and I put this in here because I wasn't done talking and I ran out of film up there in Consolation. Number one. Number two, I thought just to give you some contrast, the city, whether it be Cebu City, Mandaue City, Bacolod, Iloilo, Davao, much different than if you go out to the smaller cities outside of these larger cities, and you can live a little cheaper, a little different lifestyle out there. And depending upon who your neighbors are, you don't want to make enemies regardless of where you're at. And the video I did about my walk at night on Mango, I sure appreciate all the concern and the comments I got on that. I will segue that into a video about staying safe and some of the things you can do to stay safe, protect your property.
7! Bye-bye. Yeah.
You never know who you're going to run into out here on the street. I've been amazed, even many years ago when I started this up, 2015, probably by late 2016, 2017, as I would go out and walk, people would occasionally, not regularly, but occasionally approach me. Are you on YouTube? I even had a guy the other day at SM Mall, or SMIL Mall, one of those two. And even with my mask on and my face shield, one of the subscribers, and shout out, are you on YouTube? So I can't even disguise myself well. It's good to meet. It's good to meet you guys. I used to meet 3 or 4 a month, people who would come into town traveling. And it was always good, always wonderful people that I met. Anybody that travels around the world, generally they're very unique people. Hope this dog didn't get hurt too badly. You don't see many injured dogs around. If you see a few limping, that dog made a poor choice, something you don't want to do. If you're walking, riding a bike or a motorbike or driving, you don't want to you don't want to change directions on short notice. You want to check around yourself, because you'll have motorbikes coming on both sides of you. Same thing happened in Vietnam, even more so. They even more so. They'll be driving on the wide sidewalks, and you'll have motorbikes whizzing by you on either side. So dogs and kids and other motorbikes, so it can be dangerous traveling. I think Thailand is considered one of the most dangerous places, has one of the highest fatality rates in the world for vehicles. Anyway, thanks for coming along. Hopefully we can all get out and travel soon during 2021. So best wishes for the new year. Take care, and we'll see you next time.